The bandwidth for this episode of Fat to Fit HQ is sponsored by the Firearms Radio Network, firearmsradio.tv.
Okay, my name is Carol Salva, and I'm with the Firearms Radio Network. This week, we are going to update you on my journey. I was going to have a guest this week, but that fell through. But that's okay because we're going to Paleo FX in just a couple of days, and I want to tell you guys some stuff about how you can participate in Paleo FX. And I also want to tell you that I'm super excited because I finally found something that works for me. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. But right now, I just want to update everybody on Paleo FX. Again, that's going to be about 3 hours from where I am. That's going to be in Austin, Texas. And I'm a speaker on Friday. I'm going to be speaking with a lot of other very impressive people. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing in the crowd, but these are Paleo rock stars. And some people who are not just paleo, just talking about nutrition. Here's the thing. There's also a mastermind panel that I'll be on later in the evening with Mark Sisson and Jonathan Baylor and Sean Croxton, Sarah Fragoso. And it's just going to be amazing. And so you can watch. You can watch it live streaming. That's pretty cool. That is going to be, I'll be speaking on April 11th. But if you go to our show notes, again, fat2fithq.com/086, you can click on the affiliate link there. Just click through the link that says Paleo FX, and you can get like a 1-day pass for live streaming for something like $29.95. Okay, so for $30. Now, do you know how much money Lisa Jarman and I are spending to go to this conference? How much money tons of people are spending to go to the conference? The conference itself, several $100s. The airfare, she's coming in from Ohio. We have hotel. It's going to be a blast, but for sure, I think you can get all 3 days or just an expo pass. There's different amounts, and it would certainly be worthwhile, I think, to at least get a 1-day pass and listen to whomever you want to listen to. The schedules are all there at the link. Anyway, full disclosure. We here at Fat to Fit will be getting 50% of anybody who purchases through that link. So all you have to do is go through that link, and you are incredibly helping the show. This will be the first time ever that we would actually bring some dollars in to pay for equipment, to pay maybe for some of the bandwidth for the Firearms Radio Network, to pay for all our expenses associated with this show, because Carol is the one person on the network who is not out looking for sponsors. I probably should be, but you might know that I am a mom and I work full-time, more than full-time, and I'm doing my master's, and I love this podcast, but I really, really love that so many listeners and community members are helping me with the podcast because there's just no time. So if you wanted to hear any of Paleo FX and you want to help the show, that's an excellent way to do it, to hear some of the conference live streaming on an iPad, or you can watch it on your computer, whatever. Okay, enough about that. I'll be tweeting out a bunch of stuff like that. Also, follow me on Twitter, because while we're at the conference, I'll be tweeting out stuff all the time, and my Twitter is just Carol Salva 1. Okay, so on to the updates. What has happened? Okay, first of all, I've lost about 7 pounds or so of that 10 pounds that I gained at Christmas. Thank you. Oh my God. It was just getting ridiculous. I want to say, to update, that over Christmas, I gained, my Christmas weight. And then, right about then, Jonathan Baylor's book, this book I'm showing on the video, the Calorie Myth book, this is still my Bible. The science in here cannot be disputed. But what I did with this is I thought this was going to be my answer to dropping all the Christmas weight in a timely manner. And it probably, there's no doubt, eventually it would have worked had I done it correctly. What I did, again, you want to start eating sane. You want to be looking at food quality. You shouldn't have to count calories if you're filling up on the right foods. That's the premise. And it's, I live by. I mean, I swear by it. The problem is there's some sane foods that are like sane treats. And he clearly says you should have less of those if you are trying to lose weight. And all of this is just your starting point to figure out for yourself how much you can have of what. Well, I had too many sane treats because I live hungry. I live hungry. And so I was filling up on the vegetables. I was having a ton, more servings than he recommends. And I don't know if it's not real hunger. I know I'm broken. I know psychologically I'm broken, but I'm always hungry. I'm always hungry. So I would go back for more vegetables, and eventually I would have some fats to make myself feel more satiated. And it takes a lot of fat to make me feel satiated, and protein. And it was just working against me. I was gaining more weight. So the other part of that was that you don't have to work out as much as I was. I believe that too. But that what I learned is when I don't, psychologically that works against me. I start feeling really sluggish, and it all plays negatively to where I'm just sitting around thinking about food all the time. And my attitude just changed in a negative way. So again, for maintenance, the calorie myth and what is in it is where I'm going to be. But I was looking for something recently that would, be more high impact and give me results more quickly. So around about then, Lisa Jarman, a while back, told me that she was having some success with CarbNite. And she had a lot of success. And then we had John Kiefer on the show who wrote CarbNite, and he answered some questions for us. And if you don't know about CarbNite, I'll have a link for that, but that's at carbnite.com, NITE.com. The premise is you go ultra low carb, you get fat adapted, so you're in ketosis, and then you have a carb night. There's a reason that it's at night, some factors that play in for an insulin spike there that's very important. And then you do that once a week, and a lot of people see progress with this. Of course, we're all different, but I decided to try it. In the first week, it really didn't work for me. But as a woman, I know hormones are a factor, and we need to stick it out, ladies. If you're trying something new, stick it out longer than a week or two, because you are different hormonally this week than next week or last week. So when you try something new, it requires a lot of patience. And Philip, who is BJJ Caveman and came on episode 84, Philip told me you might want to try more than just a few days. Even if you're testing and you're technically in ketosis, you're testing your blood and all of that, try, do the 10 days that he recommends people do initially. Okay, so I'm doing CarbNite. I'm ultra low carb, under 30 a day. Everything is whole, pretty much real food that I'm using. And around day 8, everything changed. Oh my gosh. Around day 8, I realized in the middle of the day that I had no hunger. This was very obvious because, again, I live hungry. I can't remember a time when I'd had like aversions to food, not any food. Like I had no appetite. Never, ever, ever. I've had a suppressed appetite for a short period of time, but it was just surreal to be walking around all day, and food was not even an issue. I just don't know how to explain it. I wrote it out day 9, day 10. I was supposed to have a carb night, and I did not. That's how wonderful it was. I should have had that carb night. I know that if I had the carb night, I would, I'd make progress, better progress. But I'm sorry, I was enjoying this way too much. So I only went about 12 days, had my carb night, and unfortunately, my hunger came back. Of course it did. My hunger came back, and then the juice fast. For everybody who did this juice fast, again, big shout out to people that did the juice fast. I was there to support you. I did 1 day of a little bit of juicing right after my carb night, and then I'm like, no way, I'm getting right back into ketosis as fast as possible. And that's where I am right now. It's been about 8 days, 7 days really, since I started going way back low carb again. I'm testing my blood ketones. I am in ketosis, but I'm not experiencing the no hunger yet. So I'm gonna have a carb night. I'm just gonna wait a couple more days and see if I can get in that amazing land again of no hunger. Jeff Fry of Health Nuts Anonymous, was texting with me, and I was telling him, oh my gosh, I love it. I can't believe this. I can't believe I don't have any hunger. And he's such a great guy. He's like, Carol, be careful. You need to make healthy, wise choices. This is CarbNite is stressful. Low carb, ultra low carb is stressful for women. Intermittent fasting that you seem to be doing is also stressful for women. Intense workouts, even once a week, that is stressful. You just need to make wise choices and be careful. And my response was, whatever. I'm sorry. I know. He's so right. And I did end up having my carb night and having a ton of calories because I don't want to. Oh, there's my dog. I don't want to live in ketosis if that's not necessarily the most healthy thing for me. Oh, I gotta pause this. Okay, you're probably just gonna have to listen to my dog because there's stuff going on where my dog is barking. Okay, I'm back. So, Jeff, it was just very well-meaning, and he is very smart. And so, don't worry about me. I am not going to do unhealthy things just to fit back in my pants, but. I already fit back in my pants. I'm really excited. I'm wearing jeans that I have not been able to fit into since October. I'm not sure if I already said I've lost about 7 of the 10 pounds. And so I'm not kidding myself. CarbNite is probably not sustainable for me, but some of the things that come into play, like the intermittent fasting, I'm skipping breakfast because I've never been a breakfast person. And now that we're hearing there are some health benefits potentially to the intermittent fasting, cancer fighting and things, why am I forcing myself to eat this meal that only makes me hungrier as soon as I eat it? So the fact that I'm not doing that, and I'm not eating very close to bedtime because of a challenge that I'm doing with people. So that my calories are very low unintentionally. It's kind of like Jonathan Baylor says in that book, when you get full quickly, it just naturally becomes you eat less calories. Well, that's the thing. If you don't have an appetite, I'll make sure that what I'm eating is very nutrient dense. And you can look at my food log. It's bizarre if you're on my FitnessPal with us, and the links are in the show notes. But yeah, I'm getting to the end of the day and I've only had like 600 calories, and they're super, tons of vegetables and some healthy fats and a little protein animal product there. But until I get to a carb night where I'm going to make sure I have a high amount of calories and high amount of carbs on that night. So anyway, that is working. I'm very sad that I am not deep into ketosis again right now. And it is a challenge to go, okay, well, I'll just live here. I'll just live in this. But I got that keto rash and everything. I don't know if that was in my mind, but it broke out in this rash right after Philip warned us that staying in ketosis could result in a keto rash. I mean, how easily influenced am I? I don't know. But weird, as soon as I had carbs again, it went away. So I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see. Okay, I'm sorry about my dog, and I'm gonna have to edit this out for the podcast. But we should just move on to what we're doing, other than Paleo FX and other than Carb Night. What I've done recently that was very interesting is okay, I can't do this. I'm back again. This time I brought my dog, but you can't see her. Come up here, Bella. Come up here, baby. This is Bella dog. She's so great. Okay, so what I've done recently that was really interesting and probably not viewed so favorably by the paleo community is I went to see Jillian Michaels live. And if you listen to anybody in the ancestral health paleo world, she's not a favorite. But someone invited me to the show, and I was like, yeah, this will be great information for my show. She's all about calories in, calories out, and I don't agree with that. And so I want to hear what she has to say. And I knew I'd be inspired. Thank you again, Lo Becker, for inviting me, because she knew we would both be so inspired by her. And I was. Oh my gosh, if you get a chance to go and see her, I just recommend it, because she's very inspiring. But here's the interesting thing. Sure, she started out with, you need to eat less, you need to move more. But right after that, she went into, it's not as simple as that. And then for the, majority of the time she talked about food, it was about food quality. And she talked about certain carbs working against us because of glycemic load, and don't eat poison, talking about organic things and how to afford that, how to do that reasonably. I got some great tips. It was super decent and beyond decent. I was really pleasantly surprised that there was so much talk. And then, of course, the exercise, she talked about those people on the show are there to inspire us, that if they can do it in a short amount of time, focus 24 hours a day on it, it's going to take us 6 months or a year to do that, but it can be done. So I don't know, Jillian haters. I think you might want to, she's either changed a lot in her message or we weren't really listening well. So I don't know. I liked it. For people out there who are very focused on calorie counting, I'm finding lately that for whatever reason, calorie counting is very important to me. Just the realizing what's going in my mouth and how many of those same treats I've had today, or the fact that maybe I do need to keep my calories low if it's not miserable until I'm not so broken metabolically, maybe. But maybe the calorie restriction is what is working against me. All I know is I'm happy. I'm super happy. And that's the bottom line. If you feel like you're doing something that is not unhealthy, that is healthy, and you are not miserable, and it maybe doesn't go in line with one of these gurus that you've heard. You're your own guru. That's what the beauty of the N=1 experiment is that things are going to affect you differently. Again, hormonally, it's going to affect me differently this week than next week. So, pick and choose from the information that you hear. Try something that seems healthy and track and see how that affects you. And if you see something like a motivational speaker like Jillian Michaels, don't be afraid to be open-minded to other things. You never know where you're going to hear some great information. So we should probably move on. I do want to mention that we're going to have Andrea Jangle on in a month. I'm going to meet her at PaleoFX, and she is the gal who does carb backloading. See, there's CarbNite. That's for the average Joe and should work for everybody, no matter how much you work out or don't work out. If it's going to work for you, it doesn't have that high exercise lifting component to it. But then for people who are very serious, these bodybuilders, if you Google carb backloading, this is a very big thing also that comes to us from John Kiefer. And carb backloading is to be very, very efficient with your workouts for fat loss, muscle building. And Andrea has been she tried CarbNite. It wasn't perfect for her, so now she carb backloads. And she's a woman, so that's interesting. So I would encourage you to stay tuned to hear more from Andrea Jangle, or check out her website, and I'll put a link in the show notes for that as well if you have questions. I also want to tell you that we are going to go over some iTunes reviews. I totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, iTunes. We got 3 iTunes reviews for our little show. That's fantastic. I know all you like Jay over in California, Jay Gear Dad, doing our Instagram page, and people who've come on the show recently, and people in the MyFitnessPal community and everything. You guys know how grateful I am for all the participation and the motivation for each other. I'll have all those links in the show notes. And the iTunes reviews, if you are an iTunes listener, it really helps the show. And so we were in the top 5 podcasts in the outdoor section. I know that had a lot to do with these recent reviews that we just got. So I'm going to read them. And I'm eternally grateful. Okay, so the first one is Most Dominant. And Most Dominant says, Carol is so positive and inspiring. And they give us 5 stars. Thank you. And it says, Carol and company just exude positivity and cheerfulness. And in a wonderfully infectious manner. It's hard not to walk away from this podcast completely motivated. I also love how it's all about the journey, and they are not afraid to show their faults and failures that they've encountered in the past and are still facing. We know. Plenty of faults and failures over here. Let's just be real. Keep up the good work, you guys. Well, Most Dominant, thank you. I am so glad my faults and failures are helping you. But seriously, doesn't everybody have faults and failures? Good night. And if you're trying to pretend like you're perfect or you've got it all figured out, goodness, I don't know. That's not us, and that's not anybody that's come on the show. I feel better knowing that I'm not alone in what we're trying, that it is a big jigsaw puzzle. And the most difficult piece is that uniqueness piece. So thank you for that positive reinforcement, Most Dominant. The next one is called Occupied Territory Shooter. So thank you, Occupied Territory Shooter. He gave us she said, great show, 5 stars. Thanks, Carol and company, for keeping me happy, healthy, and often laughing while I'm working. You make my long drives enjoyable and informative. Occupied Territory Shooter, what a nice iTunes review. Thank you so much. I love that both of those reviews said Carol and company, because they're talking about you. They're talking about you, the person listening, because you're interacting with the show. Definitely people who have come on the show, people who have responded. You don't have to be on iTunes. You can go to our YouTube or respond like Kristen, who has responded on a lot of our actual blog posts where the show notes are. And we love Kristen. Thank you for all of your input. You guys check out also, now that I'm thinking about it, Google Shrinking the H-Man. That is Howie, who is a newer community member, and he has lost half his body weight almost. He has done that in the past, and it crept back up, and he is on his way back down. And it's so impressive what he's doing and how focused he is in his efforts. So I'll have a link to his blog that is super inspiring, but he's now a big part of our MyFitnessPal community and on the message boards over there a lot. So thank you, Occupied Territory Shooter. And the next one is called Krieg Machine. Krieg Machine wrote, I am fat, 5 stars. You will get me slapped, but I love your show. Okay, 3 guesses, if you listen to We Like Shooting, of who Krieg Machine is. That is Aaron Krieger. I know it. Thank you, Aaron. And I hope you don't get slapped. Aaron and Sean, both from We Like Shooting, have been on this show, and they put a weight challenge out there to see who gets down to 200 first, and it's looking like Sean's going to win. So thank you for still loving the show, Aaron, and I really hope you don't get slapped. And thank you for the review. You know that's super valuable. And we're going to see you in Nashville, because you're going to be one of the gun runners for Tough Mudder. Anybody who wants to join us, you still have time to get up to 12 to 13 miles of a run walk. You just need to be able to do that in a healthy way and be trained for that, and you can join us. And the links are in the show notes to come and do a Tough Mudder. We have so many people that are brand new. Bill and Carolina Schmidt are our newest members, have never done a Tough Mudder before, but they're going to do it. So shout out to those guys too. All right. Now from the community, I do want to read part of an email from Susan Hall. Susan wrote that she's a listener of the show from the beginning, and it is great, both funny and inspiring. And what I like is that it's about real people who struggle with some of the same issues I have. I listen to all the podcasts with the experts, but this one seems real to me. I have been on a long journey trying to lose weight. She talks about how she hit rock bottom, but since then, since 2012 of August, she's lost 70 pounds. And she learned along the way how to eat healthy. She's kind of fallen into a paleo primal way of eating. And she said at her lowest moment, and she's come back from that and she's never looked back. So that's fantastic, Susan. That is just fantastic. What a great story. Although she says she's had some setbacks, she's gained the knowledge and to fight through them and to stay true to what she thinks is the right way for her to eat. Rock on. Because I know, Susan, I'm right there with you. I'm getting lots of haters about, well, you should be eating more calories than that, and you shouldn't intermittent fast, and this doesn't seem healthy. But I know how I feel. And I know, well, for one thing, this video is only from the chest up. I still have plenty of fat down here to live off of. And I know that I'm not fasting. I'm having these carb days. Anyway, I'm having plenty of days that are over 1,200 calories too. It's not like I'm living at 600 calories. I think what Susan says is really important. You have to be true to what you feel is healthy for you. There's so many voices. It is so confusing. Try something healthy, stick to it, and then stay true to it until you've proven that may or may not need tweaking. She also gives us a link to a movie called Serial Killers. It's at serialkillersmovie.com. It's not free on Netflix. It's about $5, but I am going to spend that $5 because she recommends it so highly, and I would love to see it. So thank you for that, Susan. And thank you again for being a great community member. I know we are hooking up over on Facebook, and that is fun. And so, yeah, come check us out on Facebook. We're at we're at facebook.com/fat2fithq. There's links in the show notes of other ways to connect with us. MyFitnessPal. We have a community there, and you can friend me in MyFitnessPal. We have those links. We have a Fitbitter site, and the April Fitbitter Challenge has started. And we even created a thread in there called Trash Talking. Everybody's so funny. That has just taken off with a bang, and people are just going gangbusters with their Fitbits. It's crazy amount of walking. Anyway, connect with us even on Spark People. Our Spark People team, it's not as popular Spark People as MyFitnessPal. So there's just a few of us in Spark People. But if you look at each person, they've come in and they've joined other groups specifically for their interests, like mud runners and different things. Spark People is very cool if you're not into MyFitnessPal. And Kristen is over there with us. Another big shout out to Kristen. Kristen wrote me, and I'm going to read it in an upcoming podcast. It is, she had a tough winter, and she's a community member that she goes through that seasonal affective disorder where you get really down, and she did keep her activity up, but she's in a better place now and she's coming out of that. So we want to tell you to just rock on. And her whole story is posted on a recent episode in the feedback. And actually she posted it all on the Caroline Miner Tough Mudder video. So I'll put that link, and hopefully we'll be talking to Kristen more and more. And you're very inspirational, Kristen. I'm so glad to have you back. Guys, also don't forget, you can participate. You can be in the audience at PaleoFX. Just come to the show notes and click through that affiliate link, and you'll help our show and you'll help yourself, and then we can chat about it after. It's going to be a blast, and we're going to learn a lot. So again, you guys have a great week. Thanks for putting up with my chatter without a guest, and just stay healthy, and we will keep you posted. Rock on. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed that video. You can find us at fat2fithq.com. And also come over and find us on Facebook. Like our page. There's lots of good stuff going on over there. So thanks again for watching, and have a great day.
This has been a production of the Firearms Radio Network. You can find more information at firearmsradio.tv.